you all for joining us this morning. So yes, as you said, so today we're going to share how investor packs come into play when you're looking to raise money from private investors. So everybody runs out of money at some point. So if you want to do more deals, grow your portfolio, take your business to the next level, you must learn how to speak to investors in a way that leaves them wanting to give you money. So your investor pack is going to do most of the talking, and we're going to tell you how with concrete and actionable tips. So we're going to help you design an efficient investor onboarding process using your investor pack, starting when you first meet a prospective investor to getting them to invest in your project. So this is going to be an interactive presentation. We're going to ask you questions throughout. And there's also going to be a quiz towards the end because it's just it's a fun way to learn new things. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box and we answer them at the end. And Amy, if there's anything that you feel needs to be addressed right away, feel free to interrupt us. That's no problem at all. Happy to answer questions as they come. Right. So who are we? So Caryn and I are husband and wife, and we invest together.
Right. So hi, everyone. I'm a former barrister and solicitor, and I worked in FCA regulatory compliance roles at a variety of financial institutions for 10 years, both in the West End and in a city in London.
So my background is in investment banking. So I worked in sales for 11 years, first in Paris, then in New York City, and eventually London, where we still live now. So in my last role, I was dealing with central bank clients, including the Bank of England, for instance. So where did it all start for us?
So in 2014, I discovered the world of property. I went to property school and did my first property project, which was a flip the following year. The first project made me realize that being hands-on wasn't for me. So I started looking for hands-off investment opportunities. And in 2016, I did my first joint venture as a passive investor. It happened to be the same year that Antoine and I met as well.
So Caryn made me discover the world of property investing, which I had no clue about prior to meeting her. And we started looking for investment opportunities together.
And in 2017, I left the corporate world to do consultancy work for property businesses. One of my roles included reviewing investor packs for a property crowdfunding platform to ensure that they were FCA compliant. I also previously worked with a property developer and was involved in preparing investor packs for their projects.
So myself, in 2019, I decided to leave banking to focus on property investing full-time. So what Caryn and I do is invest in property to build an alternative income stream and to be able to have a better work-life balance. So we are private investors, and what that means is we invest in other people's projects. So we are the people you are looking to convince to invest in your project. So our deal count stands at 24. So we have made 24 property investments to date. We are active users of crowdfunding or peer-to-peer platforms, and we also make direct investments with developers and investors. But despite our best efforts, we are mostly uninvested. Approximately 75% of the cash we have allocated to property investments is sitting in the bank. So we're going to tell you in a moment why it's been so challenging to deploy our money. But first, we'd like to know from the developers and investors in the room what your challenges are when it comes to working with private investors. So if you can use the chat room and just share with us what your challenges are when it comes to working with investors. You know, you tell us what your challenges are, we tell you what ours are, and hopefully we can bridge that gap and make raising money from private investors easier for everyone involved in the process. So tell us about your challenges, use the chat box at the bottom of your screen. Or feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, if you just want to share your experience briefly, that works as well. So why is it that you struggle when it comes to working with private investors? You know, is it finding these investors? Is it trying to convince them to invest in your project? So TJ, so for us is how to find them. So understanding what they want to know and being confident with them. Thank you very much, TJ.
Great point from Natalie, being able to offer the right security if someone doesn't have a large enough amount to invest.
Wonderful. Anything else? Anybody else wants to share?
From Alexandra, getting them to read our investment pack, that's currently too long.
Okay, we're definitely going to address that later on. So that's going to be helpful. The presentation is going to be helpful for sure. But all great points, and we can definitely touch upon a number of them later on if you don't get the answer from our presentation. So thank you for sharing your challenges. Let us tell you about our challenges when looking to work with developers and investors. So some of the opportunities we receive are just not good enough to meet our standards. So what is wrong with them? It can be unrealistic expectations. So the GDV, the costs, the timeline, the deals just do not stack. It can also be a mismatch between the interest rates or the expected return on investment and the level of risk. It can also be the people behind the deal who make the investment opportunities unattractive. We do not think we can trust them. But our biggest challenge, the major obstacle we face, is poor communication from the people looking to raise money. So Caryn and I had multiple conversations with more than 50 developers and investors in the last few months. Conversations in the form of face-to-face meetings, calls, emails. And overall, it's been incredibly hard to get all the information we need to do our due diligence. The circulation of information has been substandard. There has been a lot of back and forth between people looking to raise money and us, which is just a poor use of everyone's time. Going forward, there'll be a few camera signs popping up on the screen, by the way, on some of the slides. So every time there's a bit of content, so it's probably worth it that you take a picture if you'd like to store some information from the presentation. That signal will tell you when to do that, when all the information is displayed on the screen. So how can we improve? How can we improve this? How can we improve the communication between people looking to raise funds and investors who want to invest in projects? How can we make this painless and save time for us and for you? So how can we bridge the gap and make deals happen? So our answer to that is quality investor packs. So you can make your investor pack your secret weapon. So investor packs are generally the first thing you send out to prospective investors, and they are the main source of information for them. That's information on you, your company, your past projects, as well as your current projects. So we said earlier that our biggest challenge when looking for investment opportunities has been communication with people looking to raise money. The quality of the investor packs we have received is the best example to illustrate this problem. We have reviewed more than 100 investor packs in the last few months, and saying that there is room for improvement is an understatement. We've seen an astonishing amount of poor quality investor packs, so not the right content, not the right format, sometimes both. And very often, we've seen investor packs used without any consideration for the rules on financial promotion, but we will get back to that last point. What you must realize is that a poor quality investor pack does not necessarily mean that the project is unattractive, but a poor quality investor pack is going to make any project look unattractive. So you could have a truly amazing investment opportunity to offer, but fail to secure an investment because your investor pack has let you down. or it could be that you have made it a lot harder for yourself to secure an investment because of a poor quality investor back. So Caryn and I have turned down investment opportunities because the investor backs were not good enough. So a poor quality investor back makes you look bad, and it just requires too much effort to get the information we need for our due diligence. It's just not worth it for us. So think about your investor avatar. And again, we'd love to have your input on this. So what are most hands-off investors like? So use the chat box again to tell us what you think. Tell us what you think defines most hands-off investors, what you have to be aware of when you work with private investors, when you're looking to get investors on board. You know, what are they like? Why do they want to be hands-off in property? So again, use the chat box if you have any thoughts that you would like to share with anyone. So what is your investor avatar? What are your investors like? And you know, what's the big difference between you, who's hands-on in property, and people want to be hands-off in property? Yeah, Amy, don't have the time, knowledge or expertise.
People with busy careers, from Alex.
Yeah, based far from our investment area, yeah, giving the option to, so yeah, we want to invest somewhere else outside of where they live. The fear from Carrie, thank you, Carrie. Fear of investing, yeah. I think the first few answers really hit the nail on the head. You know, what defines most hands-off investors is that they are cash rich, but time poor. So if you want to work with hands-off investors, you have to make it easy for them to get to know you, to do their due diligence on you, as well as your projects. You do not want to waste your time and their time answering questions when the answers should be in your investor pack. So when talking to prospective investors, you really want to focus on building the relationship, building the trust with them to get them to invest in your project. So what's a quality investor pack going to help you with? So it's going to reduce the amount of time you spend onboarding investors. It's also going to reduce the risk of losing prospective investors before they make it through the door. And at the same time, it's going to increase the amount of time you get to spend working on your project, which means potentially more projects and more profit. So this is the structure of our quality investor pack. And this is also your investor onboarding process at the same time. We're going to spend a fair bit of time on this slide. So a quality investor pack is made up of 4 separate documents. Number 1 is the company executive summary. Number 2 is the company profile. Number 3 is the case studies. And number 4 is the investment offering. So the company executive summary is you and your business in a nutshell. It's your elevator pitch. So it's what you tell someone you have just met in a brief 5-minute conversation. The purpose of the company executive summary is to convince your audience that it is worth their time getting to know you. When you meet someone for the first time, you don't tell them your whole life story, do you? It's exactly the same with your investor pack. One of the most common mistakes we see being made with investor packs is sending a 15 to 20 pages long document upon meeting someone. It's too much, too early. What you need to do is start with a 1-page document, digestible, not deal specific. And that's what the company executive summary is here for. On the back of sending that document, that's when you pause. You know, is it worth moving forward? This is you checking that you are not wasting your time. Are there any mismatches between what you are looking for and what the prospective investor is looking for? So whether it's the type of investment, the investment area, the minimum amount, the target return, etc. If there is a mismatch, stop right there because you're wasting your time. You know that it's pointless talking to that person. It's pointless for the two of you to entertain a conversation because it's not going to go anywhere. The company profile and the case studies are you, your business, and your experience in detail. Their purpose is to convince your audience that you are investable. And so these first three documents of a quality investor pack, so company exec summary, company profile, and the case studies are here to help you build your investor base. So we'll come back to our investor onboarding process and the fourth and last document of the quality investor pack in a moment. But let's talk about building your investor base, your investor black book, your investor Rolodex, call it what you will, but it basically allows you to find your investors before you need their money. This is going to sound counterintuitive, but the best time to look for money is when you do not need it. And that is what building your investor base is all about. You do not want to wait until you have a project and you are desperate to get funding to start looking for investors. Investors do not like to be rushed into parting with their money, no matter how attractive a deal may be. So you really want to build your investor base ahead of time. So the first three documents of the quality investor packs are designed to help you do just that. The larger your investor base, the easier it's going to be to raise money when that project you have been looking for materializes. So start building your investor base as soon as possible. You don't need to have a project to start looking for investors. And if you're just starting out in property and you don't have any case studies yet, that's fine. But there are other ways to show that you are investable as a person and as a business without using any case studies. So let's go back to the quality investor pack structure. So the fourth and last document is the investment offering. So it is your life project in detail. It's the project you are looking to raise money for. So the purpose of the investment offering is to help you raise money for that particular project. And by the way, so this is from a free template that you can download on our website. So details of the website are at the bottom of the screen. So make sure to visit the website and download it if this is of interest to you. So back to the investor onboarding process now. So before you can send your investment offering, there's that stop sign that reminds you about your compliance obligations. So are you following the Financial Conduct Authorities, the FCA, rules around financial promotion? When you talk to someone about looking for money for a live project, you are making a financial promotion. So the FCA regulates financial promotion. There are a number of rules you have to follow to stay on the right side of compliance. So we won't go into the detail in this presentation, but in the quiz later on, we'll have a couple of questions on what language is appropriate or not when it comes to financial promotion. What we want to say, though, is that staying on the right side of compliance matters. In terms of penalties, we're talking jail time and or a fine for breaching the FCA rules. The simple fact of being investigated can have a devastating effect on you and your business. So think about the message you are sending your investors if you are purposely in breach of the FCA rules. So it's taking unreasonable risk for you, your business, and your investors as well. And it's going to make investors wonder where else you are cutting corners in your business. Right, so now is quiz time, because we thought it was just a fun way to learn and to pass on some content and also have further discussions. So I'm just going to stop sharing that screen and share another screen in just a second. There we go. Right. So what we would like you to do is to grab your phone and go on menti.com. So that's Mentimeter. So open a web browser on your phone and type www.menti.com. That's MENTI.com. And so you're going to be prompted to enter the code that's at the top of the screen, which is 35 60 58 2. You can do the same on your laptop as well. Just open a web browser. Right, excellent. So I guess 6 people who signed up already. Seven people now. Oh, yeah, thank you, Amy, for posting the details on the chat. Just waiting a little bit more. If you're in the process of doing it, just give us a shout on the chat so that we can wait for you. So that there are 10 questions in the quiz. So yeah, open a web browser. Your phone is probably the best device to log in. Open your web browser, www.menti.com, and then enter the code at the top of the screen. All right, we're gonna get started, and you can still join on the way if you are just getting set up. The instructions are gonna stay at the top of the screen. All right, let's get started. So question number 1, some before and after photos. Are these two the same property or are they from a different property? So you've got 20 seconds, up to 20 seconds to answer any question, by the way. The correct answer is they are the same property. So well done to the 3 of you. We got it right. So let's look back. Let's look at the picture again. So when it comes to before and after photos, it's really important that you get the same angle on your picture. So the before photo on the left is the front of the property, and the one on the right is the rear of the property. So the after photo looks absolutely beautiful. You know, it's a really lovely picture, but it just brings confusion to your investors when you send a case study where you've got such before and after photos. So always try to use the same angle. So front and front, rear and rear, you know, kitchen and kitchen, before and after. And as much as possible, add a caption as well to explain what you're showing to people. All right. Let's check the leaderboard, see who is fastest. So Iris is in the lead after question 1. Well done. And there are still 9 questions, so plenty of time to catch up. All right, let's go to question 2. That's another before and after photo question. So same, is this the same property or are these different properties? Okay, 5 seconds left. And they were the same property again. So well done to the 4 of you who got it right. So this one is a bit tricky. The angle is exactly the same, but they've just done wonderful work on the property and it just looks completely different. So yeah, opened up a new door, the windows are different. But there are a few signs that are showing that it is the same property. So the chimney, one of them, the one on the left, is still there, looks the same. And you can see at the bottom of the front wall as well that there are some openings, some gaps that are exactly the same. So this one is a good one. It's just yeah, a lot of work has been done, and it's clearly showing on the after photo. And yeah, Amy, yeah, the tree was confusing, absolutely. So I don't know if the project took a number of years and the tree had a lot of time to grow, or it was just a different season and yeah, no leaves on the tree. Excellent. Let's check the leaderboard. Well done, Iris, again, still in the lead. Wonderful. All right, 8 questions left, so plenty of time to catch up. So question 3 now. So who gets paid last? You're gonna have to choose from 4 different answers. So who gets paid last in the capital stack? So senior lender, common shareholder, preferred shareholder, or mezzanine lender? Who gets paid last? Yeah, well done, common shareholder. Well done to 7 of you who get it right. So let's look at the capital stack. So yeah, common equity is at the very top. So the senior lender typically gets the first charge, gets paid first. Mezzanine, second charge, or unsecured, second, and then preferred equity, and finally common equity. We're going to have some more related questions in just a second on what terminology to use when describing investment opportunities. But let's check the leaderboard first. Iris is still in the lead, but Kay is right behind. All right. Question 4. So you've got the details on the screen. Is this a debt or an equity investment opportunity? So debt, i.e. loan, or an equity investment opportunity. Based on the terminology that's used, tell us what you think it is. Is it a loan or is it an equity investment? Bang on, yeah. 11, it's a loan, absolutely. So when it comes to loan, the correct terminology is the term of the loan. So in this case, it's 12 months and the interest rate of the loan. You will see the use of fixed rate, fixed return investment as well. So fixed implies that it's a debt instrument. So most likely a loan, which is just the simplest form of a debt. Let's check the leaderboard before moving on to the next. Great, Iris still in the lead. Kay catching up slowly. All right, next question. So you've got the investment opportunity details, and the question is the same. Is this a loan or is it an equity investment opportunity? So well done to 8 of you. The answer is equity. Let's look back at the opportunity. So the amount required is the same, so no change there, but the terminology that you're using. So instead of using just the term of the investment, you're using the projected term of the investment. You can also use estimated or expected term of the investment. So the reason for that is that you don't know exactly how long it's going to take, and you're only committing to repay your investors once the project has completed, once you've been able to exit the project. And it works the same way for the return on investment. Projected return on investment or expected or estimated return on investment is the right terminology to use. Let's check the leaderboard before going to the next question. Iris still in the lead. Excellent. All right, next question. So Companies House, SIC code for buying and selling of own real estate. Is it 68100, 68110, or 68200? Couple more seconds. And the answer is 68100. So why do we say that? So Companies House is one of the most useful tools when you want to do your due diligence on people. So we recommend that people give details of the companies they use or they have used in the past for all their property projects, and allow prospective investors to do a quick and easy check by directing them to Companies House, so that they can check the details, check the accounts of the company on Companies House. So it's certainly something that we are using a lot when we do due diligence on people and on projects as well. Let's check the leaderboard again. Iris still in the lead. Excellent. Let's move on to question 7. So you've got a statement on the screen, and tell us whether you think that this is misleading language. So making houses homes, hands-off investments, bank beating returns. So is it misleading, or no, it's fine and it's appropriate language in this case?
So 8 of you got it right. It is misleading. So where is it misleading? It's the fact that they use the terminology bank beating returns. So the FCA, does have a statement saying that people should not be comparing investment products against savings in the account, because the level of risk is completely different.
Brilliant. Let's check the leaderboard before moving on to the next question. So Iris is still in the lead, but a couple of people catching up a little bit. Excellent. Question 8, I believe. Yes, question 8 now. That's another one of those. So is this misleading? So look at the language, look at what's on the screen, and tell us whether you think that this is misleading or whether you think it's acceptable, it's appropriate language in a financial promotion. Time's up.
Yes, well done. Everybody got it correct. So very quickly, what is misleading about this is the fact that it uses the terminology guaranteed returns. I mean, it is impossible to guarantee returns. And again, the FCA has a statement about using terms like guaranteed, secured. These are terms that you should not use when it comes to describing investment products.
Let's check the leaderboard again before we move on to question 9. Brilliant. Question 9. So one more after that. So peer-to-peer lending is also known as, you're going to have 3 statements, 3 options to choose from. So peer-to-peer lending is also known as investment-based crowdfunding, loan-based crowdfunding, or equity-based crowdfunding. So the answer is loan-based crowdfunding. So well done to 5 of you who got it right. So there are 2 main types of crowdfunding activities. First one is loan-based crowdfunding, also called peer-to-peer lending. So examples of platforms would be Crowd Property, Sourced Capital, Blend Network, Cufflink, lend invest as well. So they're basically taking the role of a senior lender in your project, typically by taking a first charge on the project. And the other type of crowdfunding activities is investment-based crowdfunding or equity-based crowdfunding. So typically for equity-based investment opportunities. So examples, simple crowdfunding, Leo crowdfunding. Let's go to the leaderboard before we move on to the final question in the quiz. Oh, I think Amy has taken the lead. Ooh, yeah, well done, Amy.
Coming in at the end.
Final question. All right.
Let's see if Amy can hold on.
This one is a bit of a curveball, just to finish it off. So what does BID stand for? So read the statement on the screen and you've got 3 options to choose from. So what does the BID acronym stand for in this context? So the answer is Business Improvement District. Uh-oh, Amy got it wrong. So why do we say that? Why does it matter? So it's one thing that we recommend all our clients, everyone working with us, explain like I'm 5 in your documents. You never know who you're going to send your investor pack to. And the last thing you want to happen is that someone receives your investor packs and they feel stupid. They don't understand what you're talking about. Like you don't know how savvy they're going to be in property, in investing in general. So keep it as simple as possible. Do not use jargon. Do not use acronyms that people don't understand, or don't assume people are going to understand the acronyms that you use. And this one was a pretty obscure one. Before looking it up, I had no idea what a bid scheme was. All right, that's the final leaderboard. Let's see.
Looks like Amy held on.
Yeah, Amy, you still get it. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Caryn finishing 2nd and Iris finishing 3rd. Brilliant. Well done. Thanks for participating. I was just stop sharing that, and we'll go back very briefly to the presentation. All right. So remember earlier, so we shared with you how challenging it has been to deploy our money, and how poor quality investor packs have been so much of a letdown for us. So we want to change that. So we're going to run a live workshop to help you create an investor pack that's going to give you the best chance of getting your investors to say yes. So it's an all-day workshop. It's live and online, and it's taking place on Saturday, the 24th of October. So in the workshop, we will be covering how to structure and create your investor pack to attract investors. So we'll be looking at both the format and the content, going into a great amount of detail and doing a lot of the hard work on the day as well. And we'll give you the resources to stay on the right side of compliance when promoting your deals. So that's FCA financial promotion rules, the disclaimers, etc. So we've got a few more spaces left. So we've got 3 spots that we want to fill. So you've got a discount on the screen if that's something that you're interested in. You can just take a photo or visit the website that appears on the page too. So thank you very much for your attention and participation in the quiz as well. And we're happy to answer any further questions you may have now. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That's fantastic. I'll leave your screen up for a minute or so, and then we'll take it off so that people can screen grab that. Have anybody got any questions? If you do, just drop them into the chat box. That was really good presentation, and definitely the quiz was really, really interesting to sort of underline the points that you were making. So well done for introducing that. It's great to be interactive in a session. What questions do people tend to ask you? What do they come to you with?
So they do ask what comes first. You know, do I have to get a deal to start looking for investors, or do I need to start looking for investors now? And that's all about building your investor base. So you should be starting to talk to investors, to warm them up, to build that investor base. So build that pool of people that you can go to for when one of your projects materializes. So that's definitely one that people ask us. And yeah, we highly recommend that you start talking to potential investors as soon as possible, even early on in your journey if you're just starting. Yeah, it's good to build a relationship over time.
So you shared some common mistakes that people have been making in their investor packs. How quickly can they sort of change their language?
It's fairly straightforward in the sense that you basically want to avoid all the flowery language. So from our perspective, it's actually much easier to keep it neutral and keep it simple than trying to overly impress people and putting yourself at risk of saying the wrong things. So say as it is, you know, this is the opportunity, this is what I'm typically looking for, this is how I work with investors. So for instance, you know, the example about bank beating returns, to us, it's pointless to tell us that what you offer as an investment opportunity is going to return 50 times more, for instance, than what you get in the bank, because I know it already. You know, I know how much I'm getting in the bank, and if you tell me what interest rate you can pay or what's the expected return on investment on the investment opportunity, then you know it's clear enough, and I can just compare one to the other if I want to. But it's definitely not your responsibility to make any comparison in your investor pack.
And what other questions are the most common that people ask you for help with?
It's got a lot to do with how to onboard investors. You know what to say and how to say it. At what stage? You know, what am I allowed to say? What am I allowed to tell investors early on in the process? So, you know, one thing that's really important is that you cannot talk to an investor about a live deal, about a live raise, until you have qualified them. Yeah, that's probably one of the questions that we get the most.
Great. Well, we haven't got any more questions for now, but again, if you could drop into the chat box your contact details, that would be fantastic. But I just want to say thank you so much to both of you for a really great presentation and a good fun quiz as well. It's really, really, really good fun, only because I won it though. I'm just kidding.